Now, the big change that we see in the market is plenty of properties are available. If it's a first home buyer, definitely a genuine savings is a big ask.
Yes.
I always tell my clients, please take time, not only scroll down on TradeMe, just go and visit properties, see different types of properties before you take a call. Good properties are always coming on auctions or deadline sale. And we see the records are showing most of the properties are getting passed in. Some of the banks don't allow weekly repayments because of their structure. But otherwise, that's a great option to look for. And also different products. There are offset products, there are rapid repay facilities. So many of them are there. Please don't get attached to a property when you see, because you need to be practically, the property will only become yours when you become unconditional. We also discussed about paying off your mortgage faster, how to sell and buy, or maybe is it a good time to sell and buy? That decision is yours. Development lending, how a mortgage advisor is paid. And also we said, what is the clawback on cashback, how to increase the equity, what is the difference between paying off your mortgage faster or growing your equity, where can you buy a property, what kind of properties, what should you be careful of? Yes.
Hello and welcome everyone. I am Atulya Srijit Nair. Today, I'm hosting an informative session on the mortgage industry. We know many of you are curious about the processes involved in buying a property, investing in a property, or selling an existing one. By the end of today's discussion, you will have a better understanding of how this works and how to take the right financial decision. Today, I'm joined by someone who is well known in the mortgage industry, Mrs. Simi Sethu. Simi comes with an experience of over 2 decades in sales and finance. She started her career at a contact center in Dubai and slowly climbed up the ladder and entered corporate sales, working with both B2B and B2C clients. She has worked for many big names in the industry, including Galileo and Emirates Airlines. Later, she moved to New Zealand with her family and since has worked with GE Finance and as a mobile mortgage manager at BNZ Bank. With such an amazing experience, Simi decided to step into entrepreneurship and co-founded Kripa Financial Solutions with her husband, Mr. Sethu Arjunan. Today, their business is one of the leading mortgage advisors in New Zealand, with a loyal customer base and a dedicated team providing top-notch service. So without further ado, let me welcome Mrs. Simi Sethu. Hi Simi.
Hi.
Welcome, and it's such a pleasure to host you today.
Thank you so much, Atulya.
Simi, you have such a wonderful career journey, starting off at a contact center, moving into corporate sales, and now a businesswoman. So let me start by asking you, what inspired you to become an entrepreneur, especially in the mortgage industry?
Thank you, Atulya. It was not an easy decision. I've been in the industry working as a mobile mortgage manager with the bank and had an experience of helping customers into their homes. But pre-COVID, when the whole global economy was at a stake, banks had stopped or rather they had their risk appetite in giving home lending was tight.
Okay.
At that point in time, I didn't have a solution because I was working for one bank.
Yes.
That gave me a spark. Why not go as an advisor where you will have multiple choice and options for the customers?
Okay.
That's how Kripa Financial Solutions was formed, and thankfully Sethu was always there to support me with the journey.
Yeah, sure.
Here we are.
Well, that's fabulous to know, Simi. So that brings me to another question related to what you guys do at Kripa Financial Solutions. So now, can you tell me who your core target segment would be? Because we know that there are first home buyers in the market, there are investors in the market, and commercial buyers or sellers as well. So who do you target? Who are your core segment that you target?
We cater to anybody who wants to do lending.
Yes.
Okay, that could be residential lending, who are primarily the first home buyers or investors. And you have business loans, people who are wanting to buy business and or invest more into business. And we also have a segment where clients want to buy a commercial property or a farmland,
Yes.
or they want to buy land and develop, or they want to develop in the property that they are living. So we cater to all the clients who are wanting loans basically.
Mortgage.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, so actually, you started Kripa in the end of 2020.
Correct.
Is that right? So that was a COVID period. So when you look back in 2020, 2021, and now in 2025, what differences are you seeing in the market?
During COVID or between 2021, it was a magical market with regards to interest rate and also property. Existing homeowners saw a big hike on their property values. Prior to that, it was a slow and steady growth. However, supply in demand was always an issue. Whereas now, the big change that we see in the market is plenty of properties are available.
Yeah.
So, from the government perspective, we've raised a lot of council approvals for developments. So, you see a lot of townhouses and new build properties in stock in all the major cities.
Yes.
Which is Auckland, you see Wellington.
Christchurch.
And Wellington's not so much of new builds are in stock.
Okay.
However, it's one of the city who has gone through a big hype, and then the property markets are still yet to come back into the real value. And Christchurch. So I would say the major difference is in the stock which is available now. And of course, during COVID, we saw that magical interest rates of 2.99, 2.29%, where what we have seen is that went up to around 7%. And now we are seeing around 5%.
Okay. So do you see a changing trend in the mortgage industry as well?
Absolutely. It is, we expected a 5% growth by end of this year.
Okay.
For the property values. And when we are expecting that means the movement happens.
Yeah.
However, because of other constraints like unemployment and also the inflation control in the market, and also our friend in US doing so much of changes with his policies, these are all affecting us.
Okay.
And as per the last month update, we are expecting around 5% growth by end of. We were expecting 5% growth, which is expected to be around 3% growth. With regards to interest rates, there are a couple of OCR updates. The next one, we might see a 0.25 drop.
Okay.
And my prediction is by end of this year, we should be sitting around 4.5 or slightly lower than 4.5 on your short-term rates. I'm not expecting a big movement on the long-term rates like 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. So,
well, that's actually good to know. So now, my question is, there will be a lot of people, our viewers, who may be planning to step into the property ladder.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give them that they should consider before a purchase?
See, preparation is key for anything, right? So similarly, even whether it's going to be your investment or it's your first property or your, a commercial property, you need to understand what kind of deposit you have.
Yeah.
If it's a first home buyer, definitely a genuine savings is a big ask.
Yes.
But there are some exemptions to this, which we can always work out as mortgage advisors. Apart from that, keeping your bank statements tidy, your expenses tidy, not too much of your short-term debts like credit cards and, all those things.
Yes.
When we look at these are like how you prepare yourself from the finance point of view. Apart from that, when you're looking at a property, when you're ready to buy a property, I always tell my clients, please take time, not only scroll down on TradeMe, just go and visit properties, see different types of properties before you take a call.
Right.
For some clients I have seen, they walk into the property, they just get it within a month or so.
Yeah.
And there are clients who are with us for, last 6 months to 1 year. They even in the slow market, they are unable to find the property. So it's again, it comes from within what they want. But I would always recommend when they find a property, it's good to put a independent builder's report to it, so that they are avoiding any kind of surprises at the end. I think these are the preparations that they need to definitely
consider.
Maybe another thing which I would say is, prepare yourself, approach your mortgage advisor at the earliest, not to leave at the last minute, because we also need time. And that's a big difference which I have seen in the last 6 months is now the banks are taking at least about 10 to 12 working days average for us to get an approval and come back to the client. So you need to sit down with your advisor, give them the time to work so that the deal can be worked better for you.
Yeah, that's true. So now you see there are a lot of factors involved before buying a property and after buying a property as well. Is that right, Simi?
Yeah.
So I would say one of such factor includes insurance as well, because our house is our most valuable asset and we need to insure our properties, our houses, whatever property it is, it should be well insured and covered as well. So that brings me to another point of discussion where I am going to introduce and welcome one of our other guests in this discussion today. He comes with a background of over 10 years experience in the insurance sector. My husband and a general insurance specialist, Mr. Srijit Nair. Hi Srijit, welcome to today's discussion. So this is the first time we both are coming together in a discussion like this. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, and it's an honor and my pleasure to be part of this. So thank you, Simi, and thank you, Atulya, for inviting me for this on this discussion.
Thank you, Srijit. We would definitely, want to take some tips from you. But prior to that, I just want to understand, I just want to ask you, you have been in the country for, I think, more than a decade now?
Yes.
Or a couple of decades.
Close. Came to this country way back in 2009. So when the market was totally different. So now it's been 17 years?
About
I'm sure during this process, you would have bought properties, you would have sold properties, you would have, gone into your dream home. I know I have visited your house. So do you want to share your experience with our viewers?
Yeah, of course. I mean, buying a house is any migrant's dream coming into this country, and we were the same. And there are a few things that that worked well for us. Having sold a house, and then we rented for some time, and then we waited for the right time to buy a new property. So I guess in real estate, apart from location, it's the timing that is most important.
Yep.
And to your point, Simi, like you said previously, market is quite dependent on OCR rates, announcement by the Reserve Bank, and also demand and supply chain. So what worked well for us at that time was
You're referring to the property that you sold and you bought another property during not a very high market, but it was a growing market.
It was a growing market. It was actually quite high. Like every month, the property prices were just skyrocketing, and most of the houses that were listed were on auction.
Yes.
So there was hardly anything that you'll find that was on negotiation. So as a buyer, if I want to get a good deal, I would look out for properties which are under negotiations. So if you're going to an auction, then there would be 10-15 other bidders in that kind of market, and who would easily outbid you. So market was quite crazy at that time. But what worked well for us at that time was, after selling our house, we decided that we are not going to rush buying a dream house. So we decided to rent for a few months. So about 6-7 months, we rented, and we were still on the lookout. So what worked well at that time was, we bought at a time when there were not many buyers in the market. So we bought during the holiday season, and
that's a great tip for our viewers.
So around Christmas time, and at December, January time, and most people are out of country, and enjoying their holidays. So that's when we got this house, which was actually under auction. But then, since there were not many buyers at that time, they went for negotiation, and then we were able to negotiate at a very good price, and that really worked well for us.
That gives me a point again to touch base, is that's the major difference that we see now.
Yeah.
Right? You have good properties are always coming on auctions or deadline sale. And we see the records are showing most of the properties are getting passed in.
Yeah.
So our first home buyers have got a great chance to be there. I always tell them, be there, whether you're bidding or not, you be there during the auction time and get your things ready. And if it gets passed in, put in a conditional offer.
Yes.
That's a big advantage, and we are seeing this is for our viewers also. We are seeing a lot of properties coming on auction, and auction is a different ball game altogether. You need to have an unconditional offer with you, or unconditional approval with you.
Now, I have a question for you, Srijit.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would have received this question or heard this question many times, and I'm sure many of our viewers would also have these questions. So, with regards to insurance, what do you think that someone should insure their property for?
Well, that is a question that does come up quite a lot in discussions. So generally, what a client feels is when they buy the house, they try to insure the house for the price that they have bought. The important thing to understand is the land is not insurable. The insurance company that insures your property, they insure you for the physical structure, for the house, not the land. So ideally, you would need to go through a surveyor or a builder, and they will be able to calculate the exact replacement value of your house. So replacement value includes costs like cost of demolition and cost of rebuilding the property. It also includes professional fees like fees of architects and lawyers. If you were to rebuild your house after an event, let's say if there was an earthquake or a fire or a tsunami or a volcano kind of a situation, and if your house was a total loss, then that's what you need to insure the house for replacement value. Now, obviously, these builders and surveyors would charge you for their services, but you do get a free calculator which is available online. So if you call up your insurance company, they'll have the same calculator in their website. Most banks have it in their website as well. Now, for the benefit of the viewers, I'll say the calculator is called Cordell's calculator. So if you Google it, you'll find that calculator, and if you put in the details of your property, you can actually change a few things as well. If you feel that the details are not accurate, that you can change the details. Now, at the end of it, it will give you an estimate. Now, important thing to realize is that it's at the end of the day, it is still a calculator. So it is again an estimate. So, but if you're using the services of a builder or a surveyor, they will be able to give you a much more accurate figure.
That's a great tip.
That's definitely
That's a great tip. Could you repeat that website once again?
It's called the Cordell's calculator. So Cordell's. So once you use that calculator, if you put in the address of your property, if it's not a new build, it will most likely pull up all the details that it already has, from the council records, but not all the time the details are accurate. It gives you the
at least an approximate figure.
And you can change things. For example, if you find that the floor size of your house is not accurate, you can change it there.
Another point that I liked about about your experience is selling and buying, right? This is the right market for it. Again, you're selling and buying at the same market. Okay, this is a great opportunity because you're going to buy your asset, which is of a bigger value, in a lower market. Yeah.
So you're saying that if a client is looking for an upgrade, this is the right market.
There are opportunities for you to hold the property and also buy another property because now the interest rates are less. So you will have an investment property. The first home will become an investment property, and you can add another property to your portfolio. some cases you need to sell and buy.
Right. Yeah.
But we always see clients are having a little bit of, that double mind. Oh, should I sell it? Should I sell it? But my advice is, if your bigger option or your dream is to get into a bigger property, you need to take that call and move on. It's a right time.
Simi, we had the same feeling back then. We were so attached to our first home because we started with a little one in the house, and we were so attached. We were having double thoughts. Should we sell this really? Can we keep both? But yes, we finally went ahead and sold and then bought our dream house that we are in now. Yeah.
Yes. When you're building your assets, emotions should be taken away.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I always tell my clients when they sit with me for the meetings. Please, mostly to the ladies, I would say, please don't get attached to a property when you see, because you need to be practically, the property will only become yours when you become unconditional.
Yes,
Until then it is.
So Simi, I always wanted to ask you, if I'm a consumer, if I'm looking to buy a property, what are the benefits of me as a consumer approaching yourselves, as a broker rather than going to the bank directly?
Great question. I always explain this to my clients when I first meet them. And this is one of the decisions that I've become an advisor from a banker. So for the client, you sit down for a meeting with the broker or an advisor. You get multiple options from them. Right? You don't have to, whereas if you're wanting an approval from ANZ and BNZ, you will go to each bank and speak to them. You will spend the same number of hours. Whereas as for us, we have everything available. And just to let you know, in the broader perspective, as of today, around 60 to 65% of the total home lending volume is done by mortgage brokers.
Nice.
Right? I remember in 2016 when I started as a M, that's the similar time that BNZ started engaging brokers. Kiwi Bank has gone recently, in the last 2-3 years, they have expanded their portfolio into brokering. So brokers are updated by the banks on a day-to-day basis. We are the team that handles the brokers are called third-party channels, and we have our BDMs, we have our call centers, we have our associate teams who help us with getting the onboarding of the clients and also the documents, the loan documents to the lawyer. So it's the time. And apart from that, when I catch up with my colleagues, they say all the good bankers are now brokers, So you see most of the banks have shifted their call centers and, support team back into India and to Philippines. This has given a little bit disadvantage for the clients. Whereas in our case, an ongoing support is there.
Right.
It's not only we want to be there along with you to grow your portfolio of properties rather than just buying one property and say bye.
Right.
That's why, and that's the biggest advantage. And here many clients ask, oh, will I get a better rates and cashback when I go to the bank directly? Unfortunately, at this point in time, the rates offered online, the rates offered to the brokers, and the rates offered on their websites, the bank websites, are all the same. And banks also want us to educate the customers to use online fixing and, changing their repayments and everything because of the cost reduction that they can have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for clarifying that for us, Simi. I also wanted to, just on adding to my question, do you work with the major 5 banks or do you also work with non-banking lenders?
Absolutely. We have to have that, right?
Yeah.
So as I said during the initial meeting, the initial discussion, that we are also catering to developers and commercial property and business lending. And majority of our major investors who are building and selling and, developing are with second-tier lenders? That's a great question also for you to ask me. That gives me a different angle towards our process, because when a developer comes into contact, they always want to turn around projects faster. Whereas a mom and dad or a family who wants to develop a couple of properties, we always tend to keep them with the main banks. Whereas developers, they want to, or there will be multiple projects that they will be working on. So they will work, for them, quick money. So we go to the tier 3 banks, or the private lenders we call, not tier 3 banks, otherwise tier 2. So we park them there, get the projects completed, then shift them to the
Main banks.
main banks. Some of them, they want to hold it, some of them they want to sell it based on what their end goal is. But accordingly we will work.
Yield. So as a broker, do you find any difference in the rates that the banks offer and the non-banking?
Oh yes. So the non-banking, you will have a fees. The brokers also will have a fees on that. And the interest rates are definitely higher than the bank's interest rates. So we will only take clients who are wanting in need of that quick space. How do I say? So a client, the first option is for us to keep them with the main banks because of the interest rates and the stability. We only take them to the second tier or the private lenders when there is a need.
Right.
You will have examples of some credit issues happened in the past.
Right.
They might have good deposit, but main banks are not, it's not on their risk appetite to take these clients. So there we suggest, again, that's another point to bring in, is that between 2020 and 21, when the interest rates were very, it was on the 2%, 3%. Even the private banks or the second tier banks interest rates were okay, because anything between 4 and 5% is a good interest rate, right? So we had clients who bought and then later on we tried to move them back to the banks. That scenario can be coming in the next future. The last 3 years, even I have not settled any properties to a second tier banks in the last 3 years. But we will see that coming in as interest rates drop and or being, stable.
So Simi, how are mortgage brokers remunerated?
Brokers are paid by the banks. We call it as commission. And this is, it's very transparent these days. The FMA wants us to share this with the clients. So we get between 0.55 to 0.85% of the total loan. This varies from different banks. This varies from the banks in how they pay us. Some pay upfront, some pay periodically. However, they also expect us to keep the clients with the banks for 32 months minimum.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, it aligns with the cashback that they receive. This since 2015-16, a lot of strong cashback is available for the clients. That's around 0.85 to 1% at this point in time. So when a customer moves from a bank to another bank, this cashback is also clawed back.
Yes.
So it's ideal for a client and a smart way to be with one bank for about 36 months.
Yeah, so that's their period that they normally Yeah. So I think some banks are for 4 years, I believe, right?
Yes. Couple of banks. Majority of them are for 3 years for cashback. But again, sometimes the clients might have to sell and move, or there would be options for, there could be circumstances for them to do that. In that case, the brokers can actually charge a bit of fees, which will be disclosed at the beginning of their engagement with the client.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So can you explain a little bit more about the rental yield and also how to build passive income, for retirement?
I have seen there are two types of clients when they come to us. Most of them, they want to pay off the mortgages faster. right? But you see the youngsters who are coming now, they want to build their portfolio of properties. Why? It is to create a passive income. I would say both are good, but the first option, paying off your mortgage on your property and making it zero mortgage by the time that you retire, is a risk-free. Whereas the other one, what you're doing is you're creating an equity on the property that you're buying by leaving it for 3 to 5 years, and then you're taking that equity out and buying another property which is for rental, and then again another one, in a span of 15 years, maybe you can have about 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. It all depends. It all depends on the assets that you're buying, where you're buying, whether the rent is going to pay off your mortgage on that property. So different options are there, and this is one of, there are so many clients with me who've been engaging me as their advisor since 2016, and I feel so happy and proud when I see that portfolio of properties coming there. But an advice to the client is there, don't put all your eggs in one basket, they say always. So it's always good to have different type of assets.
Yeah.
Analyze, understand your goals, what is that you want as your passive income. How do you want to set up your future? This is all comes with, the planning.
Absolutely. Now, just leaning on that point, Simi, I wanted to ask, if you want to create an equity in your existing property and pay off your mortgage faster, do banks accept lump sum amounts, or as a one-off payment where you can pay off your mortgage faster, or any tips or anything that you can share on that?
Great question, and I really like that part of the process so much, which I personally handle for all my clients. So based on your needs and objectives, the structure should be put in place, and paying off the loan is possible, very much possible, at different intervals. If you fix a product, approximately 5% can be paid throughout your process, throughout that term that you're fixing. There are products that you can take where you can pay off then and there. Whenever you get a chunk of money, you just put into that account. There are also different banks who cater to different products. So if a client is earning a surplus income, then we tend to give those products for the clients.
Right.
And making it weekly or fortnightly repayments will help you to pay more into your loan, and structuring.
So you mean to say, rather than paying monthly, weekly or fortnightly?
Absolutely. You have 52 weeks and 26 fortnights.
So that goes more into the principal rather than...
Yes. But unfortunately, some of the banks don't allow weekly repayments because of their structure. But otherwise, that's a great option to look for. And also different products. There are offset products, there are rapid repay facilities. So many of them are there, which we can consider helping them.
Yeah, that'd be really good for our viewers to know about all these facilities that we can offer.
Correct. There are 2 ways to increase the equity of your property. One is paying off your loan. Another one is structuring the loan at the right interest rates and right term. And also, which is beyond your control, is your property value growth.
Yes.
But certain things that you can control on the property value by yourself is adding some features to it. Okay. Upgrade your toilets, upgrade your kitchen. This all, when the valuer comes in, this is what they are saying.
Yeah, if you're renovating your property.
Bit of renovation. Make sure you add value to the property by doing your renovation. Yeah.
So, Simi, for an investor, what do you recommend? Buying a property in Auckland or outside Auckland somewhere?
As I said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You always look for, but some clients are they don't want to take risk by buying a property in Christchurch. So it can happen, but I would say look at other options also. Example, Christchurch is a great market to look at now because lots of townhouses are coming where clients can put in and the rental yield is high. Example, if you buy a property 800, if you want to buy a townhouse in Auckland, you have to pay at least around 700k for a decent location, right? A 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom, 700 to 750. Whereas in Wellington or Christchurch, you might get it for 550. The rental income is going to be almost the same.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the yield is, So if I go a little bit elaborate on that area, you can have two types of investment properties. One is based on your asset growth, value growth, and another one is your rental yield. You can have few of them as cash cows and few of them as to grow. Auckland is a great market, right? For property to just come and,
Now, Simi, like Hannah, I heard you mention market is going through correction at the moment. So what do you think for future? Like, is this correction going to stay, or do you foresee any other changes in the next couple of years in this market?
See, reading different reports from economists, what we have seen in our market in the last 20 years, on an average, we have seen about 8% growth on an average, right? Whereas now we are seeing for the next 30 years, it's expected to slow down a little bit, not 8 to 9%, rather than to 5 to 6% growth. Still a great growth on an asset.
So there you go, folks. We had a great discussion today, and we hope we got to share some amazing knowledge on mortgage, how it works and how it can help you. Would you like to share something, Simi?
Definitely. Thank you, Atulya. Srijit, a special thanks to you. We have shared a great tip today that you yourself can check out on how much insurance that you should take while buying a property by going into
Codal's
calculator. I didn't know about this until today, so that's a great learning for me. And of course, I just want to recap on what we have discussed over here. We've discussed what is the current market doing. It's still a buyer's market. Interest rates are expected to be stable or maybe going down up to 4.5 on a short-term period, like 18 months or 1 year or 6 months. Not expecting a big drop on your long-term rates. And we also discussed about paying off your mortgage faster. We also discussed how to sell and buy, or maybe is it a good time to sell and buy? That decision is yours. Great. And what else we covered? We covered about commercial and also development lending. Yeah, how a mortgage advisor is paid. And also we said what is the clawback on cashback. Anything else that we...
How to increase equity.
Equity. Yes, that was a great point, right? How to increase the equity. What is the difference between paying off your mortgage faster or growing your equity? Where can you buy a property? What kind of properties? What should you be careful of? Yes. If anything I have...
No, I think we've covered everything. Thank you so much, Simi, for such an amazing discussion on this. So there you go. If you need any further clarification, tips, the experts at Kripa Financial Solutions is always available. Always remember, the right knowledge and the right experience is your biggest asset when it comes to buying a property. Hope you had fun. Thank you very much.